So the other day I was talking to my homie, right? And we was talking about zombies, Call of Duty zombies. And he said some shit that I had to think twice about, right? Because we were talking about Cold War. He said that the zombies of today aren't as good as the zombies as when we were kids. Now, me, I'm thinking, y'all already know, like, I'm kind of somewhat biased, but I like to give the newer cards a chance. I don't think they're as bad as folks like to say they are. But then he started talking about Cold War zombies, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, bro's kind of right. Like, the shit today isn't as good as the zombies that we had when we were kids. Like, whether it's World at War, Black Ops, or Black Ops 2, it's not as good. And when I say it's not as good, I'm not saying that it's trash and that you shouldn't play it and that they're god awful. No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that I don't enjoy them as much as I did when we were kids. And I decided to play all the older Call of Duty zombies, and I started playing the newer ones at the same time. I decided to go back and revisit them to see if that opinion was valid or not before I made this video. You know, like World at War, Black Ops, Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, World War II, any card that had zombies, I replayed it all this weekend just so I can make this video. Now, obviously, I started with World at War, right? It was the first in the series, therefore it should have been the first one I played. And as usual, I fucking loved it. I fucking loved all the zombies from when I was a kid. Like I said, I'm biased. But there was something I noticed in the old Call of Duties that the new ones don't have, specifically like Cold War or Vanguard. When I would play games like World at War or Black Ops 1, I noticed this level of like tightness I felt playing, because I was normally playing by myself. World at War, I had like other people, but Black Ops, I was playing by myself. And I felt really closed in. Even though you can go outside if you had enough points, everything felt very close together. When it comes to the new Call of Duty games, there's not really that tight feeling I feel when I play the zombies, because everything is just open world. It's like open space and shit, especially with Cold War, because Cold War, they basically changed everything. Instead of you having 4 players in a box-like map, you have 4 players in like a big team battle version of a zombies map. Like, in a way, they kind of made it a sandbox. They gave you too much space to roam around and stretch your legs. And with that, I feel like they took something very important from the zombie series, and that's fear and urgency. If I'm playing Black Ops 1 and I'm in a tight box-like map, I'm not only am I more urgent on where I go, I'm more self-aware, and I'm a little more frightened. I mean, shit, like I said, I'm grown as hell, but I gotta keep it real. If I'm in the fucking hallways of fucking, what's that shit called? Kindertoten, and I see a zombie behind me and a zombie in front of me, I'm gonna start panicking, because where am I supposed to go? They're on both ends. If I don't kill one fast enough, the other one might take me out. It creates a sense of urgency that the new one doesn't have. Because if I find myself, quote unquote, boxed in let's say Cold War, like I said, it's an open map. So I never really will find myself in that position, but if I do, I have more ways of getting out and escaping. Ways that doesn't involve me figuring out a way to kill the zombie before the other one kills me. I feel like the newer zombie modes provide you with too much freedom. Not just freedom of escape routes, but also freedom of offense. One thing I've noticed playing the new Call of Duties is I found myself lasting longer in rounds by myself, normally with a team, but sometimes by myself compared to when I would play zombies from the older games. See, playing Black Ops, there can only be so much I could do against a zombie or a horde of zombies until I get fucked up. I've been told y'all I'm not the best card player. Y'all know this. I've said this multiple times. So if I'm playing zombies, and because in Black Ops you start out with a pistol and you gotta work your way up to gaining points to gain other weapons, some with limited ammunition, there's only so much I can do against an army until they surround me and take me out. I think longest I've really lasted by myself in, let's say, Black Ops is round 8 or 9. And that's on a good day. The weapons you have, whether it's a pistol, a shotgun, an assault rifle, in the first 2 to 3 rounds of zombies, they do you good, because you know the zombies, they're not really that much of a difficulty the first few rounds if you have an automatic, but after each and every round, the zombies get harder and harder and harder. They start taking in more bullets. I had an Olympia, and it took me both shots from that motherfucker to take out one. I think it was like round 6 or 7, or maybe round 5, I don't remember. And I don't have a mini map to tell me if a zombie's behind me, so while I'm reloading thinking that the ones in front of me are my only issue, the ones behind me take me out. Meanwhile, in new ones like Cold War and Vanguard, you have a mini map that shows you where the zombies are, and that little issue I told you about with the weapons not doing as much damage in 3 and 4 rounds, it's still kind of there, but it's different because for one, you get to choose your own loadout in the beginning of a match, so you can start off with a fucking LMG or a shotgun or even a rocket launcher if you want to, and it's right there ready to go with all types of attachments. And there's this new thing in the new Call of Duties where you can not only pack a punch your weapon 3 times, but it's also easier to access. See, in Cold War, and when I say Cold War, I'm mainly referring to the Outbreak missions. They give you this thing where you have an objective that you and your friends can complete. Once you complete that objective, they give you like a beacon for you to press. Once you press that beacon, you have an automatic pack-a-punch with the perk machines and a little workshop bench all in one spot ready for you to use. You don't gotta do a whole bunch of extra shit like you did back in like World at War or Black Ops in order for you to like activate a pack-a-punch or some shit. And mind you, like I said, not only do you have a mini map, but they give you objectives. In the older ones, they didn't really tell you anything. All they really say is, hey, turn on the power, and you have to like find little hints on the map that shows you directions you can go into in order for you to find the power switch and turn the shit on. Then after that, you have to like do a bunch of extra shit for you to activate the pack-a-punch, shit that you need to either figure out yourself or go on the internet to find ways to do it. Here in Cold War, they basically just tell you what you're doing. Same thing with Vanguard. It's like they give you all the tools you need to win the round in the beginning of the round. Rather than feeling accomplished because you and your friends worked it out yourselves, you kind of feel a little bit cheap because they give you a step-by-step booklet to get through this shit. There's literally no reason for you not to know what you're doing when the game is telling you what to do. And while the whole pack-a-punch thing is so fresh on my mind, I forgot to mention that on the mini-map, if you don't do the objective, it really doesn't matter because they show you all these little workbenches, all these perk machines. They even show you where you can find the pack-a-punch on the map before you even start the objective. So really, there's no reason for you to do the objective if you want to get a pack-a-punch, because you can just look at your map, go a few blocks up the street, and now you got a pack-a-punch just waiting for you in a cabin. Yes, you still have to work for the 5,000 points, but it's kind of easy to do when you got swarms of zombies coming in, and like I said, you can start off with an LMG, so that's just easy kills. Even though I'm mainly talking about Cold War, mainly because it's an easy target, but it's not the only target. I kind of noticed this a little bit in games like BO3 and Advanced Warfare, but I'm gonna start with Advanced Warfare first because I think they kind of introduced this shit. With Advanced Warfare zombies, I think it was also a lot easier than Black Ops zombies or World at War. Not saying that the zombies themselves weren't necessarily hard, but for one, they were kind of sort of dumbed down a little bit, but because you had an exosuit, it made it easier for you to move around. Like, for example, they might not exactly give you the opportunity to pick your weapons in the beginning of the match like they did in Cold War, but because of the exosuit, let's say you're about to get swarmed by a group of zombies, all you gotta do is double jump and then press a trigger, and then you're on the other side of the zombie horde, and you can just keep doing that over and over again until eventually you just wipe them all out with whatever exo ability or assault rifle or whatever the fuck you got on you at the time. And kind of like Cold War, even though they don't show you where to go on the map, they still kind of give you stuff like a pack-a-punch or whatever the fuck in the beginning of the game rather than you working for it. Like in Advanced Warfare, they don't call it the pack-a-punch, they call it a weapon upgrade. First of all, it's half the price of a pack-a-punch, but it does just as much damage. You can have like an assault rifle, and if you have 2,500 points, you just walk up to it, give them your gun, and then boom, the shit's better than ever. It's doing twice the damage, you have more ammunition and a faster rate of fire, just like that. You didn't have to work for it, you didn't have to do no other objectives, it's all just there waiting for you. And they also have their own version of the mystery box. It's called the 3D printer, and just like their version of the pack-a-punch, they just give it to you in the beginning of the game. Granted, like I said, you still have to kind of look for it, it's not just there on the map. Actually, I'm bugging, I think it is, but you still have to look for it nonetheless. I still kind of love Advanced Warfare Zombies more because even though it is easier than Black Ops or World at War, it is still harder than I'm bugging. It's harder than Cold War because in Cold War, you got mad space to move, you know what I mean? Whether it's exosuit or not, you got way too much fucking freedom. In Advanced Warfare, even though you have an exosuit and they kind of made the maps exosuit friendly, number one, you don't start off with it. You have to find it in like the middle of the map. And number two, the walls is still kind of confined, you know? It's not as confined as Black Ops, but they did the best they could. And the zombies are genuinely hard as fuck because the zombies, they give them exosuits as well. So if you're getting fucked up by a bunch of zombies and you try to jump and run away from one of them, like 5 of them got exosuits and they chasing after you too. So in a way, they made it fair for the zombies rather than just giving you one big power-up. Some could say that Advanced Warfare was just like a cheap knockoff of Black Ops Zombies, but I think they did a pretty good job. Now, BO3 Zombies was kind of different. I mean, they had exosuits in like Nightmare mode, but when it was regular zombies, they didn't have that shit. Whether they had exosuits in like multiplayer campaign, zombies were straight boots on the ground. And kind of like the original zombies for like Black Ops or World at War, the maps are still kind of somewhat confined. Like you can find yourself getting really badly fucked up if you get swarmed in like, let's say round 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Do I think it's as hard as Black Ops or World at War? It's not as hard as World at War, but shit, it's still fucking difficult. And mainly if you're by yourself and you suck like me. What's good, y'all? It's Reggie TV. So, hey, I fucked up, man. I fucked up in this next part. So, what I did was, when I was describing the perks and whatever in zombies, I combined the gameplay for BO3 with BO4. In BO3, it was Gobblegum that gave you the, fuck, my brain is going dumb right now. It's Gobblegum that gave you the abilities and powers and shit. And in BO4, that was the one that had the potions that allowed you to fucking teleport and go invisible and fly and whatever the fuck. So I mixed them shits up by accident. I literally just figured that out now while I was playing BO3, so I had to come back and fix that. But yeah, just putting this out there, I fucked up. I hope this corrected it. Let's get back to the program. One thing I can say though is that, and it is helpful, the potions are a bit aggy. Because what they do is, there's this potion where, let's say you have a friend, right? And he's down and he's on the other side of the map. If you drink that potion, it'll teleport to, they'll teleport you to your down friend like that. You don't gotta run past mad zombies to get him. You don't gotta do this, that, the third. It's like they're ready, waiting for you to use it in the beginning of the match. Now, if you use it, there is a timer and you do have to wait for that timer to end. But just like the loadouts in the Cold War, they're just there waiting for you. And you have the ability to choose them in the beginning of the match. Well, more like you get to choose them before the match starts, but same shit. And they do make the game easier, man. These potions, they be making them shits easier. You can choose invisibility. You can choose all types of shit. And I will say they are kind of fun to use, but I'm not going to trash Cold War for what they did and then give BO3 a pass for the shit. Nah, like, it's the same thing. They made the game easier. Alright, now y'all already know how I feel about Infinite Warfare. I'm pretty sure I said this in my Ghost video. I love zombies in Spaceland. However you feel about Infinite Warfare is your business, but zombies in Spaceland was my shit. Me and the homies used to play that shit like morning, afternoon, night. I loved that motherfucker. There was like a, I ain't even gonna go into all that, but yo, I loved it. Now, is it as hard as BO1 and World at War? Fuck no. Well, no, that's a lie. Depending on circumstance, it is kind of hard. But I will say I still prefer BO1 and World at War. But Zombies in Spaceland, it got a special place in my heart, man. If y'all haven't played it, I suggest you do. Now, however you feel about these games, whether you like them or not, that's y'all business. This video isn't meant to like attack any of these zombies that I don't think is as difficult or not. This is simply, well, for one, it's kind of a rant, but it's simply me saying like, I believe that there was more difficulty in the earlier days of zombies rather than the newer ones because of the multiple additions and the multiple advancements. And I don't think that's necessarily a problem because contrary to how I sound in this video, I like Cold War zombies. It provides a different feeling for me than the original Zombies, but it provides something for me nonetheless. I just don't think it's as hard as the original. That's all I'm saying. But if y'all like it, I support it. But that's all I got for y'all, man. I really enjoy y'all watching this episode of Reggie TV. Tell me what y'all think in the comments, or not. I'm not gonna force you to do what you don't want to do, but it is what it is. But I'll see y'all in the next one, man. I'm out. And this one, bro, I fucking mean it. This time I'm working on this Predator video. I'm probably gonna get that shit out in like a couple days. That's a lie. I'm gonna get that shit out like on a Sunday or a Saturday. But hey, I hope y'all enjoy this shit. Look out for that. I'll holler at y'all later.